Welcome back to the Azura Media Club, home of the Bad Girl Coven. I'm your Coven leader, Emily. Today we're talking about Coraline, which is a great movie. Coraline is an amazing movie. I first saw this a number of years ago. I was like, I think looking for animation or weird kids movies or Halloween related movies to watch. I think somebody recommended it or something on a video, and I'm like, yeah, this looks interesting. I've heard of this before. Let me check this out. I was really blown away by it. I love it. I mean, this to me is a classic movie. I love this movie. I mean, I wasn't there like when it came out. I mean, it was there. I didn't go see it when it came out or anything, and it's not like I watched it as a kid or anything, but when I did see it, like, maybe 5 or so years ago for the first time, it really stuck with me. It had an impact. So when I found out when I went to see Barbie that they were going to have this in theaters again, I guess for Halloween or something, although it's a little premature for that, but I don't care. I'm like, fuck yeah, Coraline's going to be in theaters. I'm going to go see that shit. I love it. Love Coraline. Actually, and it really got me interested in Leica, the company there. I haven't seen all of their movies, but I've seen a number of them. Most of them I've seen. I know we skipped the most recent one, the Sasquatch one or whatever, and it ruined them because they I don't think they've made a movie since, as far as I know, which is really sad. I mean, Coraline is their best movie, in my opinion, and super, super good, and not really underrated or anything. I mean, everyone knows it's a great movie, right? Maybe it's underrated. I don't know. I feel like people get it now. They know Coraline's good or whatever, but, and let's just talk about there were some special features before and after the movie. I didn't really see the before ones, but the after ones I saw, and they were talking about how they like made her hair out of like this wig and stuff, and how the other mother, oh, spoilers for Coraline, by the way, the other mother, like one of her hair, like part of her hair was from one of the like animators or whatever, and they were explaining how they got him to do the effects. They had like little gears in the like little puppet rig things. And I'm just sitting there fascinated by this because when you watch Coraline, you tend to forget that it's a stop motion film. You just see animation. Like just straight up like really good CG animation is what you would think it is, but it's more than that. A lot of that stuff was physical. And they actually made the things do that. So, like, that's really impressive. Like, things you would think were definitely just done with computer-generated images were real, which is cool. It's almost the opposite problem that everything has now, where you think it's all, where you want it to be all real, but you're like, oh, that's just all CG. I guess it's similar. I don't know. I just find that really interesting. Oh yeah, there was a game too. Pretty rare Wii game. I've actually covered this on my other channel. If you go back far enough, it was a pretty old video, but decent game. I mean, it follows the story and everything. Yeah, so the animation in Coraline is just top notch. I love all of the animations on the characters. Coraline herself has a very unique set of animation. And her aesthetic, and the aesthetic of the movie is just amazing, but her aesthetic in general really stands out. Like the blue hair with the yellow like coat and all of that, and just like I love her star like sweater and all of that. Oh my god. Just all of her outfits, and every time she's on screen, I'm like, this is an iconically designed character. This is a good character, And beyond that, like, her personality is great too. She's adventurous and curious, but also cautious in a way. Those things don't always go hand in hand. Um, Something I noticed was that the other kids were like, we got too greedy, we gave in. We just wanted more and more of these good things. Whereas Coraline realized, this is dangerous. I've got to take a step back here. Like, I don't want button soda into my eyes, because something about that is pretty sinister. You know, so, and she realized that and had the sense to do something about it, whereas the others were too late on that, so... Um, and I think there's a lot to be said about her character there in that regard. So yeah, I mean, and the movie, what's cool about the movie is a lot of times when you see movies, it's not really about the main character. You don't really feel like you're seeing it through their perspective anymore, but this one, you definitely are interacting with this world through Coraline's eyes, which is great. It draws you and it connects you to the character. And I think that's really great and special. Everything in this movie, you see her parents, they're working hard. From her perspective, oh, they're boring. They don't want to play with me. They don't want to give me attention. And that's true in a lot of regards. But also, when you look at it from their perspective, they're working hard so that they can provide for their needy daughter who, is constantly pestering them and impeding the work and just making that harder. So, as a parent, you can see the one angle, and as a kid, you can see the other angle. So, and it's actually really kind of heartbreaking later on, and that scene always gets me, when she finally does escape the other world, and the other mother has taken her parents, who, before, she didn't have perspective to realize why she cared so much, or she took that for granted, really. But then as soon as she got the parents that she really wanted, and the world that she really wanted, the other mother gave her everything she wanted, but there was a sinister undertone to it. Be careful what you wish for. It says that on here, and you can't really see it. It's in black, but anyway. It's kind of the moral of the story. So, yeah. So, I mean, once she finally gets everything she wants through these seemingly better parents, the wool gets pulled over her eyes, but she realizes, and the cat helps her realize too. I don't know if the cat has a name. I don't really remember there being a name for the cat, but yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I like that, how everything, we're interacting through the world through her eyes. When they do the performances, like the mice and the two ladies performing and all of that, you see the wonder and spectacle, and you're wowed, okay, yeah, but you're wowed because she's wowed, you definitely connect to that, you see it on her face, and just some of that, like, it's just so top-notch how they animated it, like, when you just start thinking about it, it's like, wow, this is crazy, How did they do all of this? It's such a visually stunning movie to begin with. The fact that they, like, had a lot of physical elements to it is just insane. But, yeah. Coraline is such a great character. And, all the other characters are great, too, in their own regard. So, does this song just go on for, like, or is this, like, all of the... Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, there's like YB, who is kind of connected to the story to be connected to the grandma, who is the sister of the ghost girl from the past or whatever, so that's a kind of a clever twist, and then once everything is resolved there, she can come in. I love all of the aspects of her going into this hole, into this dream world, right? I'm writing a book right now. My main character actually has a reference to Coraline's name. Her middle name is Coraline, and her last name is also Jones, but her first name is Isabel. So, but what happens in Coraline is at night she goes into this hole that leads her into this other dimension. In my book, it's very similar, and I didn't just take the idea from Coraline. It's an idea that kind of stems from a lot of these kind of movies, like, you know, Coraline and Inception and a bunch of other stuff like that. And I didn't just, like I said, I did just like, oh my god, that's the idea, and I just took it all from there. It's just an idea that all of these ideas have like a little piece of, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, but wouldn't it be great if this happened, you know? So that's kind of the greatness of storytelling there. But anyway, in my book, there's also sort of a world within dreams and whatnot. Um, so I like watching movies like that, where there's a real world and there's a world within the dreams. And this definitely kind of picks up on some of those aspects. You know, you show the good and the bad of the other world, and realizing that reality is always king over everything else. But a little bit of fun and fantasy is good too, you know, and you need that. So yeah, but too much of a good thing, I guess, ruins it, spoils it. So yeah, what else? I talked about the parents and all of that. That was something I wanted to talk about. The soundtrack. I know we're hitting a lot of like vocal and musical, but the background score to the movie is also very good. What's great about the movie also is the atmosphere. It's charming and it's funny and it's very it's got this innocence and child-esque nature to it. But at the same time, it has these creepy and sinister undertones, you know, with the other mom and all of that stuff. I love how her design slowly morphs from this comforting representation of her other mother, you know, her real mother, into this, like, demonic, like, spider thing made out of, like, needles or whatever, like sewing needles, like, oh. And the scene at the beginning, like at the before the credits even, or during the credits or whatever, where she's like unsewing the other doll and then sewing the Coraline doll together. That's just really messed up too. It's like, wow, there's a lot of dark and weird elements to the movie there, and I just really appreciate that kind of aesthetic and style. You know, it's great. You know, it's a great aesthetic, great atmosphere to the movie, because there's a lot of whimsy to it too. So there's like all this charm, but it's always kind of undertoned with this creepy element and a suspenseful element. You know, how is she gonna save these kids? And then later on, her parents and herself. You know, she can always get away, but she needs to save her parents or whatever. She actually cares a lot about them now. Not that she didn't care before, but you know. Perspective's a little bit different. So you really feel that throughout the whole movie. Her struggle to stay on top of things and really figure out all of the mysteries and how to beat the other mother and get everything to be good again. And then at the end, when you see all the characters there happy, which is what I always advocate for in an ending, it feels satisfying because you know what they've all kind of gone through, or at least what Coraline has gone through to have this nice scene at the end there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know like how much more I can really say about the movie without just like getting into the minutia of like each individual scene or something, but like I just think that's really cool, you know, like you find this little door to another world and it's also within your dreams or something, and it's also like this parallel universe. There's a lot of weirdness there, and it's just like it's crazy, and everything seems perfect, but then you realize it's not perfect, um, which is cool. Yeah, and I guess that's cool too, because like you see a lot of scenes where things are good and innocent, and you're like, oh man, this is all happy in that other world, and then at the end, everything is paralleled, so you see the darker aspects also of those things. So yeah, so that's cool. I don't know. There's just a lot of great things about the movie. It's charming. The atmosphere is really well done. This balance between creepy and innocent. The characters are great, especially Coraline. Like such a good top tier character. It's a great kids movie. It's a great Halloween movie. My favorite Halloween movie. I'm not really. I mean, I like slasher movies and stuff sometimes, but like, honestly, give me something more like this any day of the week because this movie is like so top tier. It's got the feels. It's got uh, the music is great. The animation is really incredible. It's amazing. It's just how they did that is crazy. Actually, the voice acting too. I was gonna say, very good. You know, you got like Dakota Fanning, I guess, like very specific like 2000s era actress there. You know, like she did a certain amount of movies. You kind of had to be there for them. That's kind of when I was growing up. She was a big deal. So not so much nowadays, but uh, it's interesting. I remember her. She did a really good job voice acting in this movie. All the characters do, and they all have these like good lines. It's well written. The dialogue is really good too. It doesn't feel stilted or awkward or anything. It just feels really fast paced and snappy and like perfectly paced. Not even fast paced. It all feels very correct to what those characters would say. It feels on point, you know. Uh, so the writing is just great too. Everything about the movie is great. To me, it's a perfect kind of uh, horror and also, but not like super horrific horror. It's like that creepy kind of vibe to horror, you know. Um, Kids movie horror, but not like. But it's also enjoyable for adults. I don't want to say it's like a kids movie, but you know it's more aimed at that demographic, I suppose. But that doesn't mean shit. Kids movies are great, man. Um, Freaking love them. I love Coraline. It's a great movie. I honestly and seeing it in theaters was just so magical. The song that her other dad like sings for her and stuff. It's just great. Um, it's great. It's great. So well done. So well done. Such a good movie. Like I was gonna say, I don't really have many faults with the movie, and seeing it in theaters really resonated with me. Um, it's such a great thing to see it in theaters because it's that kind of movie that you should experience in theaters because visually it's so much of a spectacle. You know, all the colors. It's very colorful. Which I love. You know me, I love the colorful aspects, but they play with that too. They go gray sometimes to really emphasize the color leaving the world, you know, so that's interesting. Um, such a good movie, such a good movie. Like I said, yeah, I'm so glad I went to see it in theaters. I'm so glad I went to see Barbie just so I could see the preview, like, hey, we're putting Coraline in theaters for 2 days. I seriously wish they'd release Pee-wee's Big Adventure in a theater near me again, but Coraline will do for now. Super good movie. Um, to me, it's definitely like a top tier movie. I'd probably put it in like my top 20 movies. Um, no complaints whatsoever. I'm definitely gonna give it a 10 out of 10. One of my favorite movies, Coraline. Such a unique movie too, And I just really love that movie and appreciate it. And it pretty much does everything right, in my opinion. You know, I know it's not probably for everyone, but it's just the kind of movie that I love. And the female protagonist, of course, who's a great female protagonist. You know I'm gonna love that. With great color design, the blue contrasting with the yellow, to like really, it really makes her character just pop aesthetically, you know. So I love that. Um, yeah, it's a great movie. I don't know what else to say. If you haven't seen Coraline, go watch it. I didn't spoil that much, so. Or if you have, still go dust it off for Halloween because it's really good. Not that Halloween's anytime soon, but you know, I think a couple months. So anyway, until next time, don't forget to subscribe to join the Bad Girl Coven, and never forget that magic comes from the heart. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Emily.